This episode is proudly brought to you by the Earn More, Work Less, Live Happy book. If you want to strip the overwhelming fluff from your business and your to-do list so you can work less hours doing only the highest income producing activities, this book is for you. Using the Explode Your Sales Blueprint, we will show you how you can live your dream life right now rather than someday or later. Grab your copy at www.socialsellerslife.com/book or on Amazon today. Now let's get started.
Simplify. Amplify. And impact. No fluff. Action steps to live a successful life on your terms. Welcome to the Social Sellers Life Show, broadcasting globally with your host, the real Faith C.
Hello. Welcome back. We are at episode 4, and today I wanted to talk to you about the power of leveraging currencies in a couple of different ways so that you are able to earn more but work less. Now, of course, let me start with a little disclaimer. I am not a tax professional. I'm not a legal professional, nor have I ever played them on TV. So you definitely should consult a licensed professional in your area that can advise you according to your personal circumstances. Of course, the information that I will provide in this episode is based on my own personal experiences and is for education purposes. Now, if you are in a country like I am based in Australia, that has a less powerful currency, like the Australian dollar seems to be weak against everything, and you're wanting to create a business that's global, or maybe you're just wanting to work less hours, one of the most powerful things that we can begin to think about that I discovered not long ago was actually creating our businesses and establishing our businesses in locations with stronger currencies. You might be like, I'm working myself into the ground, and that's what I was doing. I was working 14 or 16 hours a day, but I got to a point where, especially since my mum has passed now, where I want to have more time freedom to be able to spend time with my family and to actually live life, because so many times we're out there, we're making money, but we don't actually get the chance to spend it in a way that makes us happy. We don't have the chance because we're so busy working. Now, to do this, you need to know ways that we can reduce our hours, but of course, increase our income while we're doing this. Now, if this is you, what we're going to talk about today is going to be a super powerful topic, and I wish someone had talked to me about it when I was starting Social Sellers, because a couple of years ago when I started the Social Sellers brand, it was done like everybody else does, and that is you started it in the country you live in. So that means that I started in Australian, which means I was accepting Australian dollars. Now, that's the way everybody does it. Now, here in Australia, the easiest entity to set up is a sole trader entity. It's fast, it's quick, it's easy, but it's not necessarily the best option. About a year ago, I was listening to something, an ad popped up on my Facebook, and it was talking about, leveraging your time better and how to purchase businesses with no out-of-pocket expenses, which, was very interesting to me. So I thought I would join the challenge. But what he talked about, like this one line that he chucked in to the challenge in the 5-hour training, was something that completely blew my mind. And he talked about the power of leveraging currencies. Now, we're going to talk about, buying businesses and stuff like that as investments later, because that is a super interesting thing. But I wanted to talk about this one line. This one line that he said during the challenge was something that just blew my mind. Like, once I actually started to fully comprehend the power that sat behind it. So, for example, with the Australian dollar, our currency is weak against the US dollar quite often. It's very rare that it actually wins in the Australian dollar favor. So being able to earn in US dollars means that we can leverage another 20 to 30% of income without doing any extra work. If you're American, you could leverage euros or Great British pounds by tapping into the right market and other currencies that are more powerful than your own. And that's the whole concept about part 1 that we're going to talk about. It's tapping into currencies that are more powerful than your own. Now, after I sat and listened to this challenge, and I'm not going to lie, it actually took me a couple of challenges for it finally to sink in at a deeper level. A lot of my clients are US based, and I have been selling for them and, offering in a way saying, hey, Australian dollars is a discount for you. And they love leveraging the currency in their favor. So if I was charging like $1,000 to rebuild their website, it would come out around the $750 US mark, which was like they were getting a $250 discount, which made it obviously much easier to sell. But then I started to think, well, what happened if I created a company? And Roland Fraser talked about in that epic challenge that it actually wasn't that hard. What happened if I created a company in one of the 12 tax-free states in the US and I charged the US dollars for my services and I get to keep the US dollars then? And of course, this idea actually started to take root and it became a powerful incentive for me. I started to investigate ways to make it possible. It would mean that I had the ability to earn more, even after the fees are converting to Australian dollars. And that meant that I could work with less people if I wanted to, because I really want to be able to help the people that I work with. But if you are working, if you are doing 10 hours and you're really running through it, you don't always get the time to help people on the level that you wanted to help them because you need to make money, especially also if you're having low ticket pricing or something like that where you're not earning much. You need to kind of pump through them. Otherwise, you can't make your freedom metric that we talked about in previous episodes. Now, of course, it gives me the ability to earn 20% to 30% more income doing what we've already done. Now, this means that I can secure my family faster, but it also means that the social missions that I have with helping to end poverty and helping children stuck in poverty, I can actually get them running a lot quicker if I'm earning more. Now, one of the things that put me off a decent amount of time, it probably put me off for a good 6 months, was like, oh my goodness, it seems so complicated. I didn't know how to do it. I didn't know where to start. All the information was overwhelming. And I searched for months and I tried to figure it out on my own. But then on the third round of the epic challenge that I took with Roland Fraser, he gave another nugget, and it was about, who we can contact to set up and what type of organization we needed. He also suggested tax-free states. Now, they're known in the US as tax shelters that would allow me to take home more revenue. So I was already saving. I was earning more. I'd have the ability to earn more income. Plus, I would be able to keep more of it with tax-free states. So that means that at the end of the day, more revenue was coming into my family and more revenue could go out to my social missions. Hey there, thought I'd just press pause for a moment and ask a question. I wonder if, like I used to be, you are trapped in a business where you have no time freedom and you are not reaching your financial goals every month without hustling 24/7. You know that this is not the life that you wanted and you're trying to avoid that little voice that says, I'm not happy. Your daily to-do lists are crazy long, your tech is overwhelming and expensive, and social media is so complicated that you feel like you're drowning. What if it doesn't have to be this way? What if I told you you could bounce out of bed excited about your business again because you had clarity and simplicity? Simple tech and automation with a short daily to-do list. No overwhelm or stress, but the ability to grow your take-home profits and impact faster. If you'd love to earn more while working less hours so you can live your happy life, our Accelerator Audit Call might be for you. Go to www.socialsellerslife.com/audit to book your call today. Now, it's not about the gross figures that we earn, and there are a lot of people out there and they will say how huge their income is and how much they've made, but they won't actually show you what the net figure of that is. And there are a lot of businesses that are, have huge profits, some in the millions, but the take-home amount, like the profit after all the expenses, is actually quite low. So what I want to do when I work with anyone, my goal is always to help you to increase your take-home amount so you can have more time with your family and get back to actually living a life on your freedom terms. One of the biggest things that people have is they're spending so much on all of these different tech things, which is why I'm like, okay, we need to find platforms and ways to simplify and bring it all in, because who wants a tech overhead that's almost equivalent to a shop rent? And that's what some people are actually struggling with at the moment. So earlier this year, I took time out to start the process. Mum got sick. I decided to take time off and reevaluate what I wanted to do and how I wanted to live my life. I wanted to change the way that I was running myself into the ground. Like, I got sick of running myself into the ground, working all these long hours and not necessarily having the money that I needed to prove it. So it actually became quite simple when you had someone who was experienced in what they were doing. Now, a little tip here, if you want to go faster, always invest in someone who has been there where you want to go, who can shorten the time frame, who makes it easy for you to do what you want to do. So for me, after talking to the legal professionals that I had found, I have started my Social Sellers Limited Liability Company in the US based in Wyoming because that was the best tax-free state that I researched. And it was crazy because within a day of paying these people to set it up, I had a limited liability company. The only thing that took a little bit longer was the EIN, which is the tax file number for the US, for the business, of course. It took about just over a month to come. But once all of this came through, I was able to create a multi-currency bank account, which cost me like 51 Australian dollars to set up. And it just took 2 days to verify and get it up and running because they needed to make sure I was who I said I was. Now, of course, there are going to be some fees that are going to hit me and hit you as you convert the currency from whatever you sell in. So in my case, selling in US dollars to what you live in. But they are so small in comparison to what you could make. Like even if you're hit with the $5% fee from PayPal, it's still quite a decent amount that you're making that you can then go out and be able to live your life and change the world if you have charitable missions like I do. And guess what? It wasn't actually as hard as I thought it would be, and it was actually very minimal work. There are 2 ongoing costs that I'm paying, which at the moment calculate to under $200 US a year. So it's basically nothing. And I ended up paying around $700 US to actually set up the company. And they did all the EINs and all the paperwork for me. And that's it. Basically, it was just waiting then for the EIN number as a foreigner. It was really simple. And I was actually surprised at how simple it was. Now, it's something that having set it up, it allows me to have global freedom. I have decent tax advantages, of course, as well, and charge a price that I always wanted to charge and that I was charging already, but being able to leverage a currency to make the 20 to 30% more without having to work harder to make that money. The huge thing, and this is big because a lot of countries like Australia and Canada, we're used to paying in Australian dollars, not only for the kind of services I offer, but a large variety of products and softwares and services and course. And those in Europe still think that they're getting an amazing deal when it's in US dollars. So that's another, you open up like a whole global market because the US dollar is quite often used when it comes to trading internationally. So you're opening up a huge market, especially if you are selling digital products or courses or coaching or those kinds of things. You have their ability to be able to tap into a global network that maybe you don't have right now in your business. And this is something that you can do for virtually any business. For example, you could set up your drop shipping or your coaching or your digital product company in the US. You could source a reputable US-based drop shipping supplier, and then you could be selling globally and making it in US dollars. A lot of them have the ability to ship globally a lot faster than anywhere else. So it takes away a lot of the logistical problem. And you know what? We'll talk about how easy it can be to set up drop shipping or print on demands and all of these different type of businesses in other episodes. But that was just something that it's just amazing how much freedom you can have by starting to look at how you can leverage currency. Now, the next thing is also I sat down and I looked at my operating expenses. And if you look at an operating expenses for online or digital businesses, most of them are US dollars. Like I'm paying for my website and a lot of the softwares that I use, like no doubt you are, and they're charged in US dollars. Now, with me earning in Australian dollars, that meant that I was losing at least 30% of what I was paying to the currency conversion. So, if it cost 10 US dollars, it was often costing me 13 or 15 US dollars, depending on the fluctuation of the currency at the time. So by having a US based business, I'm able to keep the dollars that I earn in that currency and then pay for those things. So I have reduced the cost of my operating expenses also by the 30%, which has been super helpful to be able to save money and put money in my account. Now, all of this was something that I really wish someone had sat down and fully explained it to me, so I understood the power of leveraging currency to increase revenue and also decrease expenses. So this piece of knowledge that I've learned, I really wanted to share it with you, especially if you're someone who's just starting a business or you're thinking about creating a business. You really want to start to think about how you can leverage a currency that's more powerful than yours. If you're in the US and you're listening to this podcast, you might want to create something that's in euros or Great British pound. So I'll give you another little strategy in a little bit, but I chose personally not to use euros or Great British pounds because if you're targeting Australians and the US and a lot of other countries that have a poorer exchange rate against these super powerful currencies, it will slow sales, in my opinion. But this may not be a concern to you. Like, you might just want to target Europe and Great Britain, and that means that, you'll have ways to deal with the objection if it arises when you're dealing with other countries that are less powerful against it. Now, another way that you can leverage currency is by charging based on location. Now, this is not something that a lot of people know, but it's something that I noticed some of the really big companies do. So the account that I have set up, the banking account that I have set up, is with TransferWise, which is now called Wise. Now, it allows me to have a multi-currency account, and each of those can have their own account details, which means that I can have different currencies deposited into these accounts, and I can then use them to come across to my Australian account, just convert them out and pay myself, of course. But one of the people that I follow and promote as an affiliate is actually based in Malta. Now, she charges her European and British clients in Great British pounds and the rest of the world in US dollars. That means that when she has a European client, she's almost making double of what she would make if she charged in US dollars. Now, Sisteme, the online platform that we recommend, they also do the same thing. The price per month of their services is the same, but it's the currency that changes that is different for them. So, little side note, when you're signing up for anything, always sign up on the sales funnel or website in an incognito browser. Like, you can do that with Google Chrome, especially if you're Europe based, because there are a lot of businesses that use this practice of charging by location. So that means that, if you are in Europe, but if you go into an incognito browser, quite often you'll be charged in US dollars, which will save you a decent amount of money. So that's something to think about, as you are moving forward with everything. Incognito browsers so that you can get the best deal is often a good thing. Now, if you don't want to be a business owner and maybe you're an affiliate, or maybe you are a business owner and you want to leverage more passive income flows into your business, this is also a really powerful thing to think about. Like, if you are looking at what you could start looking at things that you could sell that are in a more powerful currency and that can pay out in that currency to something like your TransferWise or a PayPal account. So every month I receive commissions in US dollars. So this means that I can not only make the standard commission that they give everybody, so an example of two of them is 40%. I make 40% on their products, but I can then turn that into an extra 20% more when I bring it from US dollars to Australian dollars. So it makes a huge difference. If you're selling a US product in comparison to selling an Australian product, and I know that sometimes we really want to promote things in our own country, but if you are someone like me who is looking for more time freedom and looking to work less, then utilizing the US dollar in your favor is going to give you that extra income that we've been talking about without you having to do more work. You're still having to target people. You're still having to talk to people, or you're still putting that link on your website, whatever it is for you. But this is something to really think about as you go in and you start creating something. Now, I also want to talk about if you are someone who is listening to this and you're in a third world country, like some of the countries that I have worked in within Africa, like South Africa or Zimbabwe, maybe you're in India and you're wanting to start to leverage something that's in US dollars. You can still keep your cheaper prices, especially if you're learning, but now able to earn in a currency that is super powerful. Now, with that money that you earn, and then of course you're going to spend it in your community, you can not only change your life, but you can change the lives of those around you. Now, of course, where there is a will, there is a way, especially with the power of Google to help you to connect with the people that you need to make this possible. Yes, you're going to need to pay professionals quite often, like I have done, to set it all up for you, because all of the different information out there otherwise might leave you in overwhelmed, but it's honestly worth it moving forward. Of course, I'm not a legal professional, I'm not a tax professional, obviously, and you do need to seek the legal advice and the tax advice of people in your area based on your circumstances, but I wanted to give people the opportunity to start thinking about this because nobody gave me that opportunity until I came across that one line in the Epic Challenge. So when I was looking for business options and ways to make passive income and starting social sellers, I never actually thought about the power of leveraging currency to be able to make more money. Nobody suggested it to me. I thought that I was doing the US people a really good deal because they were saving 25%, not thinking that I could actually have been putting that 25% extra into my own pocket to help my family and to change the lives of those who I'm on a mission to help with my humanitarian project. At the end of the day, that's what I'm all about. You being able to work less so that you can have the money you want and be able to live the life you want. And for some of you, you may love what you do. Well, guess what? More money means we can invest more money in our business, which means we can grow in the way that we want to. This gives you the ability to streamline your processes, but it also gives you the ability to hire more people. Because you know what? If you're earning in a stronger dollar, then you have 20% more profit that you can play with to be able to hire those people that you wanted in your business to help to grow your business. And of course, that means you're changing their lives as well, especially if you're hiring people in third world countries. The cost per hour is not as much because their country doesn't cost as much as what ours does to live in. So this means that you can pay them really fairly and really well and give them a really good life, but it's nowhere near necessarily what you would pay in your own country. So that's something to think about as well. So there are so many different ways, obviously, that you can leverage the power of currency and get it working in your favor. And I really hope this has helped you and made you think a little bit as you are planning things and prepping things and working towards your freedom number. I look forward to talking to you in the next episode of Social Seller's Life. Have a good day. Bye for now.
Thanks for listening to the Social Sellers Life Show with your host, The Real Faith C. If you enjoyed what you heard today, please download, like, and subscribe on the platform of your choice. And remember, sharing is caring. So tell everyone you know who wants a life on their terms with financial freedom about the Social Sellers Life Show. And don't forget to visit socialsellerslife.com/show and join our exclusive show community and for our latest gift for listeners.